Okay. Terry, thank you so much for being with us. This is House of Ramirez, as y'all already know. Posted up, chopping it up with Terry Walker. Terry Walker, you doing your thing out here in Atlanta, you know, popping it off. For a lot of our readers and a lot of our viewers that are not familiar with who Terry Walker is, can you give us a little small pitch as to who you are and what you do?
Well, I'm part owner in a brand called Bonfire ATL, which is basically a event curation brand. We throw an event every Sunday called Bonfire ATL, which is a culturally based event. We have independent artists performing, comedians. We have dancers sometimes. A lot of different local vendors come out and, you know, make money and support their families. We have over 30 employees, and it's just a culturally based event. And we also get headliners too. We had Keke Palmer, T.I., B.O.B. Last night we had Pastor Troy. And it's each and every Sunday. It's been going on for the last 7 years. I've been the owner or one of the owners for about 3 years now. And, you know, we just trying to take the brand and not necessarily dilute it, but, you know, introduce it to the mainstream. I like to say that we're not getting mainstream. We're making the mainstream get culture.
Exactly.
You know, yeah, they come and they realize you don't have to pop bottles and stand on couches and pay $100 before you even walk in the door. You could literally spend $60 the whole entire night and have the best night of your life. Eat good, party good, drink good, you know, do what you want to do. Just BYOB, so you can bring your own bottle. So, and that's one of the things I do. I also own a nonprofit called Pay It Forward 247. And I do a lot of nonprofit work. We do a coat drive called Jacking for Jackets every year. Last year we gave away 250 jackets to the homeless. It's an indie concert, and basically, the mission is coat. All you gotta do is bring a coat for the homeless, and you can come in and see your favorite artist perform. We also do Trapping for Toys, which is a toy drive each and every year right around Christmas, but we about to start doing it monthly at Union EAV, which we are part owners of. And yeah, we gave away about 6 industrial garbage bags full of toys to the Children's Shelter of Atlanta last year. And, you know, I do a bunch of stuff. I do T-shirts, I do all types of stuff, CBD, everything. You know, I'm a serial entrepreneur, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and I love that. I really do appreciate the fact that you're out here in the community doing big things. You know, it's one thing to be a business owner, but in order for you to actually be a successful business owner, you need to acknowledge where you come from and give back in the community that you're in, you know. And I want to applaud you for that. A lot of us, we get so main focused on, you know, the goals that we have, our business and charts and everything that you have going on. Some of us do forget to give back to the community, you know, and I can honestly say that that's something great that you're doing. And, you know, for people that want to get involved to the nonprofit, when you give away coats and also when you give away toys, how can we plug into that? How can we be part of that?
Well, first, to just address something you said before I give that information. Um, I got a formal business education, so I actually have a master's degree in marketing and a doctorate in international business. And if you went to business school, you understand that if you do have a company, there's something called CSR, which is corporate social responsibility, and every company should be giving back because basically you're giving back on behalf of your stakeholders. Your stakeholders are your employees, people that you have partnerships with, and things of that nature. They hold a stake in the success of your company. Those people who hold a stake in the success of your company, especially the employees, you want to kind of give back to the communities where they're from. You know, and all companies should do that because you're enhancing the life of that surrounding community that supports you, you know, and that's why, you know, one of the main reasons, besides having a good heart and wanting to do it, but it's also something that all companies should do. You should give back to the community you make money off of, you know. Yeah, it's only right. And now, how can you get involved? Just look out on at Bonfire ATL, and that's where we announce everything. Usually we do the coat drive in November. We do the toy drive in December. But with the upcoming months, we just renovated Union and we're about to open back up. And this is something that I'm probably going to be doing monthly. It's just a concert series. We pick about 13 artists. They get to go on 3 different times. They get, it's a 4-hour, really like 4 to 5 hour event. It's an hour, pre-time. You get to mingle and network, and then the show is about 3 hours long, and each artist gets to perform one time each hour. Because a lot of artists perform and leave and stuff like that. So we try to make it to where at least to the last song, you're gonna have every artist and every artist fan in the building, so you can get maximum exposure. And the entry is either $10 or a coat. And we donate all the coats to charity. And the same thing with the toys in December. So
Yeah, I
that's
love it. That's awesome. Terry, yo, that's big. And talking about your school and advice that you are giving us all, thank you for that. A lot of people don't put us on game. Sometimes, there are selective few. We have mentors and we have people like pouring into us and small advice to help us grow. But, the majority, we're out here grinding and we're learning as we go. So thank you for that bit of advice. And it's very true. You should be able to give and should want to give back to the community that you profit off of. And then to touch base on that coat drive that you have, you're making shit pop for the artists. They have a platform where they could go ahead and express themselves freely. They don't get like a small segment. They have equal timing. Their fan base is able to chill out, come out, show out, and support the artist. All around, you're helping everyone around you, and that's awesome. And then the fact that you get to make it affordable for us common folk out here in the community. I'm telling you, I'm a whole mom, so I'm very frugal. So if I come out and support you, just know I'm out here for real supporting you. So $10 ain't nothing. We spend $10 on something else, and it's either that or a coat. Why not? Why not come out and support? So I want to thank you for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm from Brooklyn, so I grew up poor, and I also was an artist. So I understand, artists having to pay to perform. That was never made sense to me. But I have partners that have those kind of platforms, and it's actually beneficial, his platform. But just as a whole, when I do my events, I don't like to charge artists to perform. I'd rather charge the people who come in to see the artist and kind of like put the artists up on game and show them how to monetize their art. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what you should be doing. I also tell the artists, like, you could be doing this. They be like, hey, suppose I open up for this person. And I'll be like, why don't you just book that person? You be the person putting on the show. Then you can open for them. Now you making money and you getting the notoriety. So, I really care about the people for real. Like, my mom was poor growing up. So, and then I got friends who this music and this times that we live in got them to where they feel like they gotta like show out, show off every time they go out. And then they wake up Monday morning and gotta pay bills and can't pay bills because they went out and showed off. And I just want to show them that like you can have a great time without having to impress people. Just go out to enjoy yourself. You don't have to spend $30 to park, then spend another $60 to get in, then spend another $100 to get in VIP. You ain't even bought a drink yet.
And trust me, I understand that fully. So when I say I sit myself down at home and I just chill out at the crib, because it's real. Like, the culture has made it to the point where you got to ball out, flash out. And when it's really not that, you have the most fun when you're around your friends, your family, you're at somebody's crib, y'all cooking, y'all drinking. So you're bringing that to us to be able to be in a safe zone where we could go ahead and not break the bank and also have a great time. And that's what's important. We need to teach our youth that you don't have to break the bank to have fun.
Yeah, our events are 65% women because we try to provide an environment where a woman can come and just be herself. She don't necessarily have to dress all up and wear the heels and the tight clothes, and we don't allow misogyny. You're not gonna say nothing rude when she walk past. You're not gonna grab her, grope her. gonna get put out for that. So
Mm.
women feel safe. We have a woman-friendly brand, and because of that, our main supporters are female. Like we one of the only parties that's like 65% women on a regular basis.
We're here, we're in Atlanta. We feel your presence. We feel that you care about us. Um, Thank you for that. So, just talking about the youth and pointers that you can give us, what key pointers can you give our youth that are actually trying to come on and do something like you, or even if it's not like you, what advice do you have for our youth?
My advice to the youth is take time to learn. Don't just jump out the gate, waste your money trying to do events. Go chill with somebody like me, and I definitely will sit and talk to anybody. Go chill with somebody like me, or go work under somebody to try to really learn the ins and outs of what's going on and the different moving pieces. I was talking to somebody last night because I had a little issue with somebody who was trying to like steal my brand and
Mm.
basically imitate and do what we do. And this guy said, I wonder if they knew when they was trying to do it how much goes into actually throwing this event. We managing anywhere from 1,300 to 2,000 people every Sunday, and we haven't had a fight ever. Just that alone. Then managing parking on the streets where we don't have people breaking into cars, and it's all trial and error. But then when you get to a new place that you've never been to before, and you start putting these pieces into play, everybody know what they supposed to do. All you gotta do is point to them where they gotta do it at. That's
Mhm.
it. And you know, I give more credit to my team than I even do my partners. Because my partners, yeah, we go find the place and bring the equipment and get and hire everybody. But these people have been doing this for so long that they know their job. So as soon as they get there, once you point them to where their job is happening at, they start performing their duties. And that's Bonfire. Bonfire is the moving pieces, the 30 something vendors that we have that, come every week, and it's at least 2 to 3 of them each. So that's about 70 people. You have 30 employees that's running around, from security to stage manager to sound tech, the light tech, to all of these different moving pieces. That's what makes. So my advice is build your network. I had a friend that was incarcerated for like 7 years, but before he went to jail, I had a cell phone. I had 100 numbers in it. This is when Metro first came out, and he said, "That's a lot of numbers." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "But watch, this is gonna be the way I make my money." And when he came home 7 years later, he picked up my phone, and there was about 4,000 numbers in the phone. And he was like, "Yo, you got 4,000 numbers?" I said, "I told you, that's how I was gonna make my money. It's about who you know and what they know you for." Everybody throw names out, and I don't never do that. I hate that. I don't take pictures with money. I don't take pictures with guns. I don't throw names out. I don't do that kind of stuff. I'm really from like Brooklyn for real. And but all the names that I do got in my phone, I could call them and ask for favors, and they're gonna do it because I helped them back in the days. I know them from college or from doing other events with other people, and I stick to my word. You ask me for something, if I take the time to look at you and be like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, just not to be a liar. And believe it or not, 10, 11 years later, it worked out. Because when you make that same phone call back, or when somebody's sitting in a room and they mention your name, like, yo, I'm thinking about doing business with him, that person goes, yo, that's my man. That's a good dude. He never did me wrong. They be more on your side. Yo, make sure you take care of him. Don't be trying to do my man dirty. You know, that right there is golden. Like your reputation. And, that's what I try to keep intact at all times. I'm very calculated. I grew up under like watching Jay-Z. That's the most calculated man you ever gonna see. You don't never hear Jay-Z in no crazy scandals. You don't never hear him. He just started getting political once he got that money, and he felt like he got enough money to where they can't tear him down. But on the way up, he wasn't making no political comments. He wasn't making no comments about race. He was walking the line. Now he got those relationships built. He could go straight full with it. Bailing out protesters out of jail, putting black kids in college, angel funding black businesses. Like, that's how I look up to. I don't care what people say about him, how they talk about him. That person, Jay-Z, he from where I'm from, like right up the block. And he was from the projects. I've grown in the house. So to watch him go from that to where he is now, and people don't know how much he really puts into his community, that's what I look up to get the money for a reason. There's come a time when you get enough money, $10 million, $5 million, you basically could live off of about I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month for like 50 years, something like that, without having you only got to work no more. So to have $1 billion and you dedicate your time to trying to better your people. So, my advice, my main advice to kids is take your time, learn, get under somebody and really understand what you're doing and be yourself. Like, and make yourself happy. Don't do nothing because you trying to impress nobody else. Don't do nothing because you think your mother wants you to do this or your father wants you to do this. I told my friend the other day, I said, before you make your child happy, your wife happy, anybody else in this whole world happy, you got to make sure you happy. Because how can you possibly make somebody else happy if you're not happy? How can you be happy or make somebody else happy and you're not happy? So don't be, I ain't gonna say be selfish, but before you make moves, think about your happiness as well. Because that shit can lead to depression, can lead to all types of shit. And then what happens? Your kids suffer, your wife suffer. All the people you was trying to make happy, you actually put in the suffering stage because you didn't focus on yourself first. So that's my advice to kids.
Well, I appreciate that, Terry. It's very true. Like, the key point is staying true to who you are, getting to know yourself. And I think that's really big right now with everything that's going on around us. More and more people are saying they're stuck at home, they're sitting at home, they're realizing, well, what do I like to do? Who am I? What do I enjoy doing? And they start to reflect on who they really are. And I think that right now it's very important that we tune into that, we find out who we really are and what we like to do, so then we can genuinely be happy, so in turn we can love others around us. We can't fully love others, like you mentioned, until you love yourself. It's a in and out process. It starts within and it reflects out. And being genuine also is a key point nowadays. With COVID, we're seeing less less extravagant things going on. We're very uncut, very raw, very real nowadays.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and it's very important that we're genuine. I'm sorry to hear that somebody was trying to copycat you. I tell people all the time, you could steal the recipe, but the drip won't be the same. Okay, so they could try to pick up on what you're doing, but if their heart's not in the right place, they can't even amount to what the first step that you have already passed a long time ago. So I just want to commend you to keep doing what you're doing. Let the haters hate, let the copycats try to copycat. They will never amount to what you're doing, because I can sense that your heart is in the right place. And you genuinely love the community out here, so we appreciate you. And it's very important that we're genuine to who we really are, you know?
Appreciate you. Yes, it's hard because the person that did it was a former employee, and it was all out of malice. And when it first started going down, I was upset and I was going tit for tat. And I sat down and it was like God spoke to me. He was like, yo, the best way to show your authenticity is to be who you are. And I'm not a confrontational person. I'm not even an angry person at all. So I stopped focusing on that negativity and stopped focusing on trying to make them make people see that they was fake. And I just started being the real. I started talking to the community and letting them know that I'm not going to engage, letting them know we're going to take the higher ground, letting them know that we just going to push forward and we're not going to, feed into that anymore. And then I started focusing on the community for real. Like, how y'all doing out there? We in horrible times, COVID-19, and we got, civil unrest because of systemic racism and all of this different stuff that's going on. How are y'all doing? Check in, let me know you're okay. And if you're not okay, hit my DM and we can talk about it. I had like 600 okays. I had 8 people in my DMs. I was sitting there counseling. I was going through hard stuff. And I feel like all 8 of them got a positive word and was able to get some clarity. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what the brand is about. The brand ain't just about a party and making money on Sunday. It's a culturally connected brand that's about the culture, which is the people. See, a lot of people get this culture stuff messed up. They sit there and think the culture is skateboarding, or you got to be an artist to be part of the culture, or wear vintage clothes and all the characteristics. But I'm gonna keep it real with you, and I don't care what nobody say, because I'm an OG for real. The culture is hip hop.
Mhm.
That's what the culture is. Everything that hip hop encompasses, and hip hop is multi-dimensional. Hip hop is politics, skateboarding, rapping, fashion, graffiti, all that stuff. But it's also inclusive. It's not black, white, Chinese, Spanish. Hip hop that's what brought us together. If people don't remember, the first female rapper was white, Blondie. Step Into My World. KRS-One sampled her shit. You feel what I'm saying? Like, people don't get that though. One of the pioneers for hip hop was with Russell Simmons. His name was Rick Rubin. One of the first hip hop groups was the Beastie Boys, along with LL Cool J and all of those pioneers back then. So, for people to sit there and just think hip hop is like, has these certain characteristics that if you don't fit into, you just not hip hop, is very hypocritical to me. Because literally hip hop was created not only to give a voice to the disenfranchised, but to also give them a voice so that those outside could relate and then participate, and then through that participation become one with that person and care about their struggles and try to help them change it. That's why Blondie even made Step Into My World. If you listen to the lyrics, she was talking about what was going on in the hood. He steals a car and da-da-da-da-da. And she was talking about all street stuff that she seen when she came to visit outside when Fab Five Freddy had the park going up when they was doing the DJing in the park. She came and saw it. And that made her want to go home and write a rap. Straight up. So, you know, I, I I just want more people to care about the culture, which is these young people, which is the people, which is anybody 45 and under from where hip hop came from. Just because a person turned 40 don't mean they listen to R&B now.
Yeah, you're right. And that's something that I talk to a lot of my friends about, you know, right now where the world is being torn apart with race, it's very important that we find things to unite. And music and art has always been one of those outlets that has united all types of people all around the world. And hip hop is it. You don't have to look a certain way to feel what I feel when I hear the same vibes you hearing, you know? And I think that's very important that now more than ever, we focus on loving each other, pouring into each other, becoming united because it's very important. It's very difficult, even when you're, interacting with other races, sometimes it could be a situation where it's frowned upon, but everyone has to know not everybody hates others. That is actually put into children. You're not born with hate, you're born with love. And it's our responsibility to love others, and those that don't see that they have to love others because they don't look like them, help them understand that we love them, and they should be expressing this too. Right now it's very important to love on each other. um what are your takes, on what we're going through? I did notice that you were putting on your social media a group, a collective, where we were talking about the injustice that we're seeing nowadays. What are your takes on that?
Well, I feel like I was always a cognitive individual, so I was never able to be led anyway. I would actually like travel my own route, take my own path through just reading and learning and going out and talking to people. And I feel like the biggest problem we have right now is a lack of communication. You know, people don't communicate. A woman should never go to a woman about advice about a man. Bottom line, you want to get advice about a man, you go to a man. And, you want to get advice about, you want to talk about how white people feel, talk to some white people. You want to see how black people live, and you white and you got a problem with how black people do certain things, ask them why. See, my wife is Caucasian, and she has a Caucasian family, and her mother is not afraid to ask questions when she sees some shit that she don't understand. She's like, "Hey, why do you do this?" Or, I always wanted to know why black people do this. And for her being so bold, for a second you step back like, what? But then when you realize she grew up in a town that hardly has any black people, she literally just don't know. And she's been told things that if unless I break those stereotypes and tell her the real, or somebody like me, she's gonna keep those stereotypes in her head, not even understanding the reality. So I love those conversations and I invite them now. Communication is the key. We got all these misconceptions. You look at these homeless people, I'm like, oh, he's a bum. He just didn't want to work. Then I hear this one guy say, I got injured and they didn't want to give me workers' comp. I put the elevator in the biggest building in Atlanta, that gold building y'all see every day. I put that elevator in. Then I got hurt and they didn't want to pay me. That's why I'm homeless. Like, you never know somebody's story unless you communicate. So I feel like rich people who benefit off of us fighting, who the trends in the stock market based off of civil unrest, or profiting off of drugs because people taking a virus think a virus is more serious than it is, and even being able to control you. I think those people benefit off of us fighting and arguing and doing all this stuff, but they don't want to see anything else. Look at the people who really out marching Black Lives Matter. Usually poor black people. Look at the people who are outside racist and nigger this, nigger that. Usually poor white people. They literally take the poor people and pit them against each other so they can mask what they doing, and so that they can maintain their wealth without you coming for it. Because you too busy worried about the BS. And it's sad. Is it systemic racism? Yes, of course it is. Is it going to end anytime soon? Absolutely not. Why? Because we are the minority. Any place where you have a majority and a minority, naturally the minority is going to get the shorter hand. But the people who run shit ain't going to let you get it. That's just how it is. How can you change it? The best way to change it is the best way to beat the system is to become the system. Become the judge, become the lawyer, become the police officer, do all of that. Then you can literally police your own community. Then you can literally stop people from going to jail. One of the girls that hit me up and said she wasn't okay. She wasn't okay because of what was going on with society, with the coronavirus, and also with the civil unrest because of systemic racism. And she said, and I said, well, Are you sad enough to go and talk to the families of those who got hurt from systemic racism or people who got killed and their family members? I said, are you angry enough to become a lawyer or to become a judge? I said, you know, are you smart enough to become the police officer? Like, how upset are you? Because your emotions should fuel your actions. If I'm really, really hurt, maybe I should go out and try to change it. Maybe that's gonna make me finish this 4-year degree. Because every time I'm doing a paper, I'm pissed off. And I'm gonna do this paper and get this A, because I gotta get to this next level because I'm still mad. And then when I'm walking across the stage, I'm mad as I ever been. Because it's time to use all this anger and this emotion and this education to influence change from the day I walk across the stage. So, you know, that's what I feel. If you hurt, go do something about it. If you want to see change. Besides that, communicate. This one black guy went into the Ku Klux Klan and had interviews and meetings with them until they started inviting him to his house. He realized there's a bunch of lonely ass people with misconceptions. They started inviting him over to dinners and stuff like that, trying to name him their kids, Godfather and all of that, to the point to where he changed, I think, if I'm not mistaken, over 220 people that he influenced to leave the Klan because they realized from knowing him and meeting his family that all the perceptions that they had about black people was 100% wrong. That's how you change it. Anger and going out and trying to do angry stuff is not going to change nothing. I wrote a rhyme one time. I was like, how you pressure your oppressor and think they really care? I think it's really weird that you think this shit is fair. But if you think at all, you should be prepared. It's weird to me that people think it's fair or gonna be fair.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, you got to communicate. You know, everything gets solved. And I do see how to use your anger and your emotions to push you to cause change. You can't just sit there and say, I want change and not do anything about it. But also when it comes down to business, you have to be able to unplug emotionally and move and execute. And it happens with communication. You know, I think that it's a very important thing that we learn how to communicate. We are, you know, our community is hurt, the Hispanic and the Black community, as well as the white community. You know, like you mentioned, we are two poor groups going at each other when other people are just sitting back, crossing their arms and just watching us. We need to be able to communicate. We need to break stereotypes. And that happens with speaking to one another, not screaming at one another, not hating on one another. It ties back into healing, knowing yourself, and loving others. And right now is the time for that, you know, and we're seeing a lot more people being engaged to protest, to go into school, to become, whether it's, you know, representatives for their state, their county, and that's what we need. And, you know, and I mentioned to everyone, not everyone can do what you do, and not everybody can do what I do. But as long as we come together and unify and cause that change one step at a time, we're giving progress to that change. That's what's going to get us far. And that's what's going to change things. But I agree with you. Communicating is very essential nowadays, as it's always been. But tension is high, and we need to break that down with loving each other, talking to each other.
When I first met my wife and I was going to meet her father for the first time, this was a big thing because daddy was supposed to be like an OG. And he, nobody knew what he was going to say, how he was going to take it. This black guy, I'm 6 years older than her. At the time, she was like 20. I'm like 25, 26, or 25, about to turn 26. And I'm like, man, I hope I don't have to punch this dude in the face.
Oh, don't say that, Terry. No, you didn't.
I'm just keeping it real. I'm like, I'm
yet
I'm from
alone.
I'm
Hmm?
from Brooklyn, and men is men. I don't
No,
care how old
I
you.
understand, Terry, but to be honest with you, it's like, I'm trying to get everyone to understand, to break that stigma. And there's nothing wrong with Hispanic on Hispanic love and black on black love and white on white love, but there are instances where, interracial dating is a thing. It's real and it's out here. Take my babies, for example. They're half Latino, half black. It happens, and it's okay. There's no color on love. There's no race on love. So I can only imagine how this went down. And no, you didn't say you were about to hit this man.
No,
Calm
I
down,
just wanted
Terry.
to make sure. I was like, man, I hope I don't have to punch this man in the face. Then when I actually sat down to dinner with him, we talked. By the end of dinner, he was like, man, I like you. And then next week, it was like Christmas or something. He sent me like $50 in a box because he's not like the best gifter, but he would give you anything. It's from the heart. You feel what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
then like when we got married, he gave me a gun, like straight
I
up.
know that's right. Oh, you
You
part of
feel,
the family now, Terry.
you feel what I'm saying? And from that moment, I try to just tell people like, yo, really it be about who you are and how you approach a situation. If I'd have went in there looking for him to say something or, being extra what you call it, sensitive in everything he
Mhm,
said and would have been like, yo, what you said? Huh? Then
mhm,
that probably ended the wrong way. I went in there with an open mind, wanting to see who this man was.
mhm.
And, years later, I like him more than my wife like him.
Oh, it'd be like that. But that's
Yeah.
that's a key point that you were talking about. We had to stop being so closed-minded. We have to be open-minded. We have to acknowledge that other races are human too. They have emotions too. And the fact that you went about it, even at a young age at 26, you went at it maturely, to know this person as a person, not to see it as a confrontation, an opportunity to cause a confrontation. That's big. You put your feelings to the side so you could get to know this man. And guess what? Now you have a beautiful family. I can honestly say you have a beautiful wife, a beautiful child. I have seen some books in the works. I saw your baby's book. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's crazy because that we talked about my father-in-law. Well, basically, my father-in-law is a very funny dude, and he used to tell a lot of stories to my wife when she was a child. Before she went to sleep, he'd just make up these elaborate stories to get her to go to sleep. But they actually was like well put together. And my wife said, she one day I don't know how it came up, but to the point to where we gonna make a book with his stories in it and we're going to illustrate it and we're going to dedicate it to our daughter. My wife wanted to, tell my daughter these stories, but not just leave it at that and make it all folklore that's just passed down through word of mouth. So we decided to do a book. She wrote the book or wrote the stories down, and then I went and secured illustration from this guy named Phoenix Nebula. I actually met him at my bar before I owned it. When we used to go there and just hang out, he was in there doing art, and he was like his art was really, really detailed and really nice. It cost us some money and it cost us some time, but the finished product is worth it. It's really well illustrated. The story is really good story. He even put my
Mhm.
daughter in the book, as
Mhm.
like one of the characters, not necessarily like one of the main characters. She's just
Mhm.
like it makes an appearance in every book.
The fact that you and your wife are so loving enough to actually make this into a book and make it for everyone to be part of that, that's great. We feel like family.
Yeah.
And for our followers and our listeners that want to purchase this book, where can we find it? Where can we go to get it?
Well, it's on Amazon. We working on formatting it for paperback. But right now, you can go to Amazon Kindle and you can find it. It's Cabry's Terrific Tall Tales. My wife put the whole terrific thing in there before she published it because she the one who formatted it. And it's Cabry's Tall Tales. It's on Amazon for Kindle, and you can go get it and read it with your family.
But besides that shout out, do you have any other shout outs that you want to make?
I want to shout out my partners, King Fresh. He owns Crown Me LLC. If you ever seen that hat with the crown with the me under it, that's him. A lot of people walk around the city wearing it. He doing really good. Um, Flex, my other partner from Pop ATL, they do Atlanta Indie Mart once a month, and they also own a merchandising company. They print T-shirts, cups, hats, all that kind of stuff. Then my other partner, Michi. Michi is he do everything. I can't even tell you. And Michi got 15 different things every day that he's doing, but he's making it work. But those are my brothers. We've been doing this bonfire thing together, and I guess facing adversity bring you closer to people.
Mm-hmm.
And we faced a lot of adversity, moving around, people sabotaging, trying to get us shut down, the city not understanding what we are, and through all of that, we really fought. And we still around. Shout out to my wife and my daughter always, for providing sanity after all the craziness. I could come home and vent, and then barbecue and hang out with my family, and my mom's. That's like my important circle of people, and my little cousin. He's like my brother. My mom's helped raise him. But those are my most important people. My mom's is my backbone. She probably my best friend.
Your rock.
Yeah, I get to call my mother and talk to her about everything, except for my wife. I don't believe in that. Um, you don't want your mother hating your wife and then y'all fix everything. Your mother's still mad at her, and
Mhm.
so we talk about everything but what I got going on in my house. And
Mhm.
she provide me some kind of clarity or just a peace and maternity of knowing that I'm talking to my moms, and you feel more comfortable talking to that voice you heard your entire life. And then my little cousin for just being my protector. He ready to go. he,
We
he,
all got one of them, Terry. We all
oh, he
got one of
ready.
them. I got two brothers, and I grew up a tomboy, and I love my mama to death. So I want to shout out moms all around, especially your mom. She definitely raised a strong, a very sound, level-headed, successful young man. And I know it takes work on your behalf too, but she definitely poured into you to make you a great man that you are. You're a great person, Terry. I appreciate you.
I
Yeah,
attribute everything to my mother because, like I tell people, I'm from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and you know how rough and hard it is. I've never heard my mother curse.
oh wow,
You know what
really?
I'm saying?
That's nice.
Like straight up. She's very poised. So, just having somebody like that, people gotta understand where my compassion and my poise come from.
I know that's right. Thank you, Terry. I really appreciate you. Appreciate the fact that you took time aside to sit down and talk to me. I'll go ahead and put all your social media handles with this video. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you and your family for blessing us with this book.
I appreciate you. I just wanna let you know I might be busy a lot. Like I'm always busy. But I see you. I'm seeing everything you do, all the community efforts you do, all the working with the different businesses, especially like I met you, were over there in East Atlanta and working
Zone
with them.
6, you already know.
Yeah, So we appreciate that, and your energy. Definitely appreciate your energy. We need more people like you. That's like you always trying to stay positive and do positive things and make a positive contribution to society. And
In the Spanish community, there's a saying, tell me who you with and I'll tell you who you are, meaning you have to surround yourself
yeah,
with like-minded individuals, got to peep game. And like you said, sometimes it might be that time where you need to shed those circles, head back into a positive direction in an elevated state and get into another group. And I'm not saying burn bridges, I'm just saying it's okay to have different circles and know when to interact with some, but always keep that tight circle around you that's positive, motivational, and always looking to do something greater.
yeah.
Yes, thank you, Terry, and you have a great evening. Make sure to follow House of Ramirez on all social media platforms.